Here's everything you need to know before installing a split system aircon. I'm Aidan from Sorted Electrical, and I'm going to answer a couple of common questions homeowners have when it comes to installing split system air conditioning. Firstly, what is a reverse cycle split system air conditioner? A split system aircon has two main components. You've got the indoor unit, which is wall mounted, and an outdoor unit, which usually sits on the exterior wall of the house. The two are connected with refrigerant piping and interconnection cables. And when we say reverse cycle, we mean the unit can both cool and heat. So you can use the same air conditioner to cool your home in summer and warm your home in winter. The second question is, what size air conditioner do I need? This is probably the number one question we get from homeowners when they're looking to install air conditioning. The most common sizes that you'll see are 2.5 kilowatts, 3.5 kilowatts, 5 kilowatts, 7 and 8 kilowatts. But you shouldn't just choose a unit based on the kilowatts of the unit and your estimated room size. Room size is important, but you also have to take into consideration things like ceiling height, whether the walls are insulated, the number of windows in the room, the direction the room's facing, and how much direct sunlight is on that space during the day. And also how much that space is used and how long that air conditioner needs to cool the room during the day. So for example, you could have two living rooms which are exactly the same size in the same floor area. One could be in a downstairs room that doesn't get any sunlight, has insulated walls and is completely enclosed and is well protected from the afternoon sun. The other one could be upstairs or in a room with high ceilings, a lot of windows, and gets direct sunlight in the afternoon or during the day. These two rooms will have two completely different cooling requirements. That's why taking the time to come out to site and have a look at the rooms where the aircons are going to go is so important in choosing the right unit so it'll work efficiently and be the right choice for your home. So another question we get is, a bigger unit always going to be better? The answer to that is no. Going bigger doesn't automatically mean that it's better. The goal is to choose the correct unit size for the room. You don't want to be running a unit that's too big to cool a really small room and have it running inefficiently. You want a system that can comfortably maintain the temperature you want in the room without unnecessarily oversizing the unit. Same way, you don't want to have an undersized unit working a lot harder than it needs to cool the room. Next question we get is, where should the indoor unit be mounted or installed? The location of the indoor unit can make a huge difference in how efficiently it works and how well it cools that room. We want to think about where the air is actually going to travel in that room and not just stick it anywhere where there's free space. In a bedroom, for example, you don't necessarily want the unit directly above your head or just aiming directly at you to blast cold air on you all night. Sometimes a better position will be in a corner of a room or on a side wall, closer to the middle of the room rather than directly above the bed. Again, this all depends on the locations that are available to install the indoor unit and get piping to that location. In a larger area like a living room, you want to install a unit where it can distribute the air effectively throughout the space. But we also have to consider what is on the other side of that wall. There has to be a suitable route for the pipework to go without cutting unnecessary holes throughout your home, and also want to try and avoid a drain pump where possible so that you don't have to pump the water out and have another item in the unit that needs maintenance. So sometimes a placement that would look most aesthetic in the home isn't always the most practical place to install the unit or the place where it's going to work the best. That's another reason why you want to have your technician come out to site and check the location and the suitable areas where your unit can be installed. A good installer should come out and have a look at the space and run you through some options of where it can go and give his recommendations on where they think the best placement for that unit would be. This leads us to the next question: where should the outdoor unit be installed? This is something that gets overlooked quite a lot. The outdoor unit needs to be installed in a space with adequate ventilation. You don't want to have it squished up against another wall. It's in an area where you can get to if it ever needs to be maintained or replaced. Ideally for bedrooms, you want to be installing the most quiet unit that you can so that the outdoor unit won't be heard from inside the home. So keep in mind future servicing, the noise of the outdoor unit, and the aesthetics when getting your air conditioners installed. The next question that we get asked is, what is a back-to-back installation? What does that actually mean? You'll hear the term back-to-back installation quite a lot if you're looking for quotes for an air conditioner or if you're seeing air conditioning advertisers online. Generally, a back-to-back installation means that the indoor unit and the outdoor unit share the same dividing wall. So the indoor unit will be mounted obviously inside the house, and then the outdoor unit will be on the same wall, just on the exterior. Most online quotes that you get will just usually be for a generic back-to-back installation. This is something you have to be careful for when getting online estimates. There are so many exclusions, and a back-to-back installation can mean different things depending on the provider that you're going with. A back-to-back installation usually makes the install a lot smoother and a lot easier due to the limited amount of pipe work required and the close proximity between the outdoor unit and the indoor unit. If the outdoor unit can't be installed on the same wall or has to go further away, this usually complicates the install and won't be the same price if you've been quoted a back-to-back installation. Again, this is why it's so important to have someone come out and actually check your space before providing a quote. The last thing you want to do is accept a quote for a back-to-back installation, and then the installers arrive on the day and you get stung with all these additional costs that you didn't realize you're going to get. Always make sure you know exactly what's included when you're getting quotes for aircon installations, as many companies don't include basic items required to do the installation, such as wall brackets, extra piping, mounting plates or base plates for the unit, and sometimes not even the electrical work is included, which means you'll have a full installation completed and the unit won't run until you pay an additional amount to have have an electrician come out and connect the unit or run a circuit for it. Make sure you're reading the fine print in your online quotes if you're not getting someone to come out to site. This leads us to our next question. Does a split system aircon need its own dedicated circuit? So this depends on what's already on your circuit, how big the unit is, and how much power you have available. Depending on the system and the installation requirements, your electrician may need to install a dedicated circuit for that unit. This is why we also check the existing switchboard to make sure that your home supply is sufficient to run additional load of an air conditioner. So if you've got an older switchboard or you're installing several aircons, your switchboard may need to be looked at and upgraded to be able to handle the additional load of those units. Sometimes everything's fine and you can add the units in with no issues at all. Other times you might need a dedicated circuit or a switchboard and supply upgrade. It's much better to know this beforehand than afterwards when you've got the units installed and you have tripping issues and you can't run them or use them how you want without causing home electrical issues. Make sure you reach out to your electrician or your aircon installer to check all of this before you go ahead with your installation. So here are some more basic questions we get about split system aircons. What temperature should I set my unit to? This comes down to partly personal preference, but there's usually no need to set your air conditioner to 16 degrees just because you've gotten home and it's really hot. Setting it extremely low doesn't mean that it's going to cool your room any faster. You're generally better off setting the temperature to a maintainable level, like 20 degrees or 22 degrees, and letting the system get it to that temperature and maintain it. And remember, every degree that you change that air conditioner can affect how hard it has to work and how much power it's going to use to get to that temperature. The next question, what does reverse cycle air conditioning actually cost to run? There's no single answer to this because it depends on how much you're getting charged for electricity and also how long you're just running that unit for day to day. Another thing that will affect this is the age of your unit and how efficient the unit is that you've purchased. New quality split system aircons are really efficient and they won't use much power at all compared to older split systems or the old window rattlers, those square boxes that are cut into your wall and plug into a point. They're extremely inefficient and use a lot more power than a good quality split system unit. Talking about the brands of units that you should install, we always get asked what's the best brand of split system unit. There are plenty of brands out there and a lot of reputable brands that do a really good product and have a great warranty. So when you're looking at units, don't just go for the cheapest option because a lot of the time it'll cost you a lot more down the track when something goes wrong, or it'll be inefficient and cost you more to run than a good quality unit. You want to make sure you're getting a unit that has a great warranty, is efficient, and that your installer will want to install for you. Some installers won't install certain brands of units, so a lot of the time it's better to get your installer to supply the unit as well as installing it. When we're choosing a unit for a customer, we do consider these following things: the length of warranty the unit comes with, whether we get an extended warranty with that brand as a licensed installer, the parts availability for future servicing and maintenance, the efficiency and the noise levels of the unit, and whether the manufacturer has good support here in Australia. Here at Sorted Electrical, we only install quality units that we can stand behind and know that we won't have any troubles with them if something goes wrong in the future. We highly recommend to stay away from the cheapest units that you can find because they're very difficult to install, they don't last very long, and their after support is terrible. There'll be nothing worse than saving 20% on an air conditioner installation, but 12 months later you can't get hold of the manufacturer to replace it, or your electrician won't cover any of the warranty involved if it's a really cheap unit. So the next question is, when should I replace my old air conditioner? Age alone isn't necessarily the only reason you replace an old unit. If your existing system is becoming noisy, inefficient, taking a really long time to cool or heat the room, or regularly needing repairs, it may be worth comparing the cost of a new unit with a new warranty to what you're going to spend maintaining that unit through another summer. Modern systems run a lot more efficiently, cooling rooms quickly, quietly, and with a lot less issues than older split systems. However, you might have an old system that just needs a really good clean and service, and it might get you through another couple of summers. It's always good to do a service and a clean on your units every year to keep them maintained, working efficiently, and pick up any issues that they've got before you need them in the middle of summer. The next question is a difficult one, and it causes a lot of debates between different aircon companies. Should you be going split system aircons or ducted aircons? This really depends on what you're trying to achieve. If you're spending majority of your time in one room of the house, or you find one area just stays way hotter than the rest of the home and you just want to cool it, a split system makes a lot more sense because a 2.5 kilowatt system running in a bedroom will be a lot more efficient than running a ducted system with that room turned on. Yes, with a ducted system, you still have zones and can control the areas you want to turn on, but it's not going to be as efficient at cooling 1 or 2 rooms than individual split systems. They also cost a lot more to maintain and replace down the track if you ever have an issue with it. With ducted aircon, you've usually got a central system distributing conditioned air throughout the home using ductwork in the ceiling. Modern ducted units also use zone controlling, which allows you to turn on and off separate areas in the house individually. A ducted system can be a great option if you're renovating, doing a new build, or want a whole home solution and have the budget of $15,000 to $30,000 to get it done. It generally requires more space, is a more involved installation, and if installing into an existing home can often require holes cut to get ducting between upstairs and downstairs. You'll often be left with a patching and painting job to complete to fix any holes that were cut during the installation. But there's no universal answer to say that ducted is better than split systems or vice versa. So how much does a split system air conditioning installation cost? There's a lot of factors that go into this, and it depends on the aircon that you're installing, the location you're installing it, the size of the unit, and also just how your home is built. A straightforward back-to-back installation will normally cost less than an installation where the outdoor unit has to be located in a different area. The size and the brand of the unit will make a significant difference as well. So when you're comparing quotes, don't just look at the final number, see what the differences are and what's allowed for in each quote. Also, be very wary of going with a quote from a company that hasn't actually come out to site to assess and have a look at what's most suitable and get an understanding of your space. It's extremely difficult to give an accurate quote for any air conditioning installation without visiting site and checking all the things that we've gone through in this video. The next question is, how long does it take to install a split system? A simple back-to-back installation can be done in a couple of hours with a good technician and have it all powered up and tested. More complicated installations can take longer, half a day, a full day, sometimes a day and a half, depending on where it's getting installed and how much additional work is required. If you're getting multiple split systems installed in one home, sometimes they can be completed on one day, or there may be multiple days required. When you have a technician come out to quote and check the site, they should also give you an indication on how long the job should take and how long to expect them there on the booking day. It's often a good idea to get a fixed price quote when it comes to air conditioner installation and not an hourly rate. So the last question is, what should I ask before going ahead with my split system installation? Here's a few simple questions. Is this the right size unit for my home? Why are you recommending this particular brand? Where will the indoor and outdoor units be installed? Where will the drain go? And does your quote include the electrical connection? And is there anything that I could be charged for that I don't know about now? You should 100% understand the installation and what's going to happen before you go ahead with the job. When we come out to site, we go through everything with you. We'll answer all of your questions regarding the installation, the location of the units, the brands of the units, and also give you a fixed price quote so you know exactly what you're getting and how much it's going to cost you. And remember, when you are getting quotes, the cheapest option may cost you the most in the long run. Make sure you're getting someone that's giving you good value, has a great warranty, and will stand behind their workmanship. Make sure you're getting someone to come out to site and check all of the things required before providing you with a quote, and make an educated decision once you have all the information from your installer. If you're in Brisbane or Bayside and you're looking for air conditioning quotes, reach out, we'll come out to site, go over everything with you, give you a fixed price quote to get your air conditioning sorted properly the first time.